नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। We are discussing this book, Light of Bhagavat. Till now we have completed 32 verses of this book, and today we will try to discuss from 33 to 36 verse. I mean 4 verse of this book. Okay, now wrapping the last discussion, I would like to conclude by saying one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said in the first canto, second chapter, that सवै पुंसां परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिर अधोक्षजे अहेतुकी अप्रतिहता ययात्मासु प्रसीदति. Means, in order to satisfied by nature, yayatma suprasidati, in order to satisfy the self or the spirit soul, one has to serve, devotionally serve the Adhokshaj or the Supreme Lord Hari. And what are the characteristics of this service? This devotional service is ahetuki, unmotivated, and apratihata, means uninterrupted. These are the qualification. Why Sutta Goswami says this answer of this question? The question was put forth, placed forth by Shaunakadi Rishi, Shaunakji, that what is the essence of the scriptures and what should be done in order to completely please, uphill the spirit soul. In the reply, Sutta Goswami says the answer of this question, that Save Punsam Paro Dharma, one has to do the devotional service to the Supreme Lord Hari, Adhokshaj, right? And if the person, by taking the birth as a human being, if the person is not pursuing or engaging in the devotional service, then he is just wasting the time. In upcoming verse, in the first canto, it is said that Dharma Swanushtita Punsam Vishwaksena Kathasuya Na Utpadayata Yadi Ratim Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. The person is just wasting their time, their effort, and their power, because he is not engaging in the devotional service. He is engaging in the animal propensity of life. Even after taking the human body, if the person does not cultivate the human spirit, then he is just wasting their time. And in the revealed scripture, it is said, the varnashram system, the human being is supposed to follow the varnashram system. Why? Because the aim of varnashram is to please the Hari or the Supreme Lord. So we should understand first that the aim of human life to cultivate this human spirit. So this was regarding the last discussion where we were discuss about the four varnas and four ashramas, how to cultivate the human spirit or the how to proceed for the science of self-realization especially. Okay, now we will discuss the 33 verse of this book. It is said as follow: there are waterfalls flowing from the hills of the forest, but sometimes water does not flow from them. So the waterfalls are like ordinary rainfalls. They are compared to the great reformers who speak or do not speak as the time requires. Okay. Here, two comparison is given: rainfall and waterfall. You may have seen that sometimes the rain falls, but this rain falls is compared with the professional reciter of revealed scripture. The reciter, professional reciter, they take money and they generally speaks they generally speak about the Ras Lila or Ras Panchadhyay, which should not be spoken in the general mass of public, because it is very confidential. It is very deep subject matter. The ordinary people cannot understand this part of this Srimad Bhagavatam, because they do not understand the status of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in order to earn the money, these professional reciters speak this most confidential part of this scripture in front of normal people, just to earn the money. This is kind of rainfall. The rainfall, they are, you can say, they pours the water for some time being, only for 3-4 months in the year, whereas the waterfall, they are continuously flowing from the forest, from the hill, right? Now, sometimes the waterfall, these are the acharyas. Acharati iti acharya means the person who follows the regulative principle prescribed by the scriptures, and in their life they are implementing that principle into their life. That is why they are called as acharya. So these acharyas, they are like a waterfall. The waterfall, they know that how to uplift the consciousness of my subordinate or of my disciple. They know the nature of the disciple. They will say sometimes that you should do this, and sometimes by their characteristic, by their behavior, they will teach their disciple. This is the waterfall. Sometimes appear, sometimes disappear. So this is the thing that one should adopt. As a acharya, first one should understand the principle of the scripture, and after that, without deviation, he should follow the principles in their life. Okay, and here it is said that mundane professional reciter, they are generally mercenary. Mercenary means they are oriented to earn the money, irrespective of giving the transcendental knowledge to ordinary public, because their aim is different. Whereas the acharyas, they are following the tradition of knowledge. it is called as Guru Shishya Parampara, disciplic succession, where the spiritual knowledge uh, goes down by the disciple, one disciple to another disciple, that disciple to another disciple. This Guru Shishya Parampara, this knowledge is transferred or it is carried forward by this disciplic succession. And if there is a deviation in this system, then it will not, you can say, that give the perfect outcome, per 100% result it will not give. Okay, then what is our duty? If the person is sincerely inquisitive about realization, self-realization, then the Antaryami, he will give the direction, he will give the instruction that you should go to this person, he is a right, 100% right, then it is right track. And there are four prominent institution where the knowledge is pure, otherwise everything is deviated knowledge. So the person should become enough intelligence such that he can go to a institute where he will accumulate the very pristine or very pure knowledge. So here in ISKCON, where we get the transcendental knowledge with evidence, it is as it is knowledge, which is drops down by Lord Krishna himself. In the 4th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is said that evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale neva mahata yoganashta parantapa. Yoganashta means whatever knowledge was described in the past, that knowledge was deviated or sometimes it is completely lost. Sakale neva mahata yoganashta parantapa. Nashta means completely deteriorated or it is completely vanquished. Just in the due course of time. The time is so powerful that generation after generation, this knowledge is deviated just because of personal interest or personal profit. We have seen in the past and even in the present also, many institutions are there. They are just spreading, they are just propagating the pakhand or the wrong principle of this scripture. We should be completely aware of this principle, and after that we should adopt the principle of right path. This is the thing that we have to understand, and this is the waterfall. And the waterfall are such that they are sometimes very nutritious compared to rainfall. Sometimes you may have experienced that the waterfall water it has some very good substance compared to a rain water. Some added minerals are there in the waterfall. So this is the benefit of disciplic succession. In the disciplic succession, the disciple gets the very mercy of the disciple. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that by the mercy of Krishna, you will get the right, authentic, bona fide spiritual master. And by the mercy of spiritual master, you will get the Krishna. So this is the, you can say, counter act relation. Okay. So this is the thing that where we should get the knowledge. What are the right, authentic source, bona fide source from where we can assimilate the transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, the knowledge which will have no value. Although the professional reciter and normal acharyas, they are speaking the same thing, but there is no substantial influence over the audience. They will not become a devotee in proper sense. They will have some subtle sense gratificatory enjoyment, but that heart will not, you can say, may, it will not, heart will not change, they will not become a devotee. This is the power of the acharya, for right person, where the person will change their life, their heart will be melted, and they will adopt the principle, and they heartfully wants to change their life. This is the thing, this is the power of acharyas, a right disciplic succession. And we should gather knowledge from these streams of knowledge. Okay, 44 verse, it is said, in the same small pools of water accumulate during the rainy season, and in the autumn they gradually dries up. The little creatures playing in the small, in those small pool, do not understand that their days are now numbered and will end very soon. Thus they are like foolish men, who, not caring for the nearing day of their death, because absorbed in the so-called enjoyment of family life. Here the general public is described. In the autumn or in the rainy season especially, the small pool of water is created just by rainfall, and after rainy season, by the influence of autumn or the heat, the rainy season's water, that small pool, will be dried up. Why? Because the heat of the sun, and whatever creatures or whatever small insects are there in the water, they do not know that the day will come where this water will be completely dried up. At that time they will come to the death. He is not thinking for upcoming future, he is thinking about their present life. They are engaged in the so-called sense gratificatory activities. Here the same comparison is given with the foolish person who is so much engaged in the illusion of family life. He understands that I am enjoying in this family life, but actually he is completely, and here the typical word Prabhupada has used, that encumbered means he is taking the heavy burden over their back, and after carrying that burden, this person is thinking that I am enjoying. Even the great politician, normal person is their boundary is to limited people for their family life, and that politician, the big man, has the big family, means they have very great number of people are there in that jurisdiction. So they want to become famous in front of that people, right? So this big politician, they have false ego of false prestige. They understand that I will achieve that position, I will achieve that famous position, but they do not know that the time will come at the death that I have to give up this position, even this body, then what to speak of that position. Okay, then this is compared with the fish or the creatures which are lying in the water. The water will dried up at one day. Similarly, whatever the family person, the head of the family, whatever he accumulates, this will end up at one day. Even after knowing that it will end up there one day, he is very much attached to the family relationship. Here one point we can understand, that the spirit soul is completely transcendental, but he is engaging in the cycle of birth and death under the illusion of misconception. he considers that I am this body and these relatives are of mine. But actually, these relatives, they are the cause of the bondage, because their the cycle of karma, he will acting at every moment. We are under the control of material nature, under the law of karma. So the nature will never excuse that you have and you are under the illusion that is why we are letting you. No, there is a stringent law of material nature, and this law of karma applies to everyone. And here in this verse, Shukdev Goswami is saying that these are very extravagance. Extravagance means they do not know the aim of life. They want just to engage in the sense gratificatory activity. The time passes, but they do not know the ultimate aim. Even after they know that at every moment anyone or someone is dying, but after watching this incident, he does not understand or he does not get receive the lesson from this incident. And the similar verse of this book is 35 verse. When the small pool of water become too hot because of scorching heat of autumn sun, the poor small creatures with many family members suffer terribly, as poor householder with too much family members suffer economically strains, and yet to go on begetting the children because of uncontrolled sense. Here Prabhupada describes in the purport of this verse that we know that the senses are the cause of the bondage. We are bound up by these laws of the karma. Why? Because in the past we had the material desire, we had the senses, and the sense want the sense object for the sense gratification, and that is why whatever we had the desire in the past, that desire will be fulfilled in this life or in the upcoming life. So in order to fulfill the past desire, we have to accept the material body just to gratify the sense, right? So we should understand that these senses, even Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they compare these senses as the enemy of the spirit soul, and the greatest enemy of the spirit soul is this tongue. So we should utilize our senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. These senses are just like a snakes. If we are allowing randomly, then he will bite. These senses will bite us, and this is the one perspective. And if the same senses, if we engage in the service of the Supreme Lord, then this senses means the snake, the teeth of the snake will be we will you can say snatch off this teeth of the snake, and at that time he will not he will no more have that poison in even after you can say what is called touch of this tongue, snake. So this is comparison is given that Durdan Tendriya Sarpakala Batali Prokshat Damstrayate, that this teeth will be, you can say, cut off from the mouth of the snake. This is comparison that when we engage our sense in the service of the Lord, then this the sense will have it will not have that poisoning effect. It means it will not bind up in the cycle of birth and death. And here the position, the strain of or tension of the family life is described by the Kapil Dev in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I am reciting the verse of the 30th chapter of third canto, description by the Kapil Dev of adverse fruitive activity. Here I am verse by verse I am saying it is very important what is the position of family man, so-called family men who are engaging in the devotional service. Okay, the first verse: as a mass of cloud does not know the powerful influence of the wind, a person engaged in the material consciousness does not know the powerful strength of the time factor by which he is being carried out. We know the time is passing, and sometimes we become astonished that I am become so much old, right? Or this is my age. We sometimes become surprised or astonished that how it is possible. We were just enjoying where we were kid, and just the time sometimes elapse, and we can understand that this is my age. So here this comparison is given with the clouds and the winds. The clouds, the small cloud does not know the powerful effect of wind. This wind carries the small cloud. Similarly, the time is so powerful. He carries the small living entities, very, very minute living entities under the modes of material nature. And the person do not know the influence of the time, and he will just wasting their time by engaging in the sense gratificatory activity. When the person is in the sense gratification, then the time will pass like this, right? He does not care about he does not care about the time that is passing. Okay, second verse: whatever is produced by the materialistic will, with great pain and labor for so-called happiness, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the time factor, destroys, and for this reason the conditioned living soul laments. Here, what is the lamentation or frustration for the living entity? In the 10th chapter, or no, in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Kalosmi, Lokakshaya Pravruddho, the Lord Krishna, the one form of Lord Krishna is the time, and the death. The whatever the materialistic person he accumulates throughout their life by hard labor, this will be snatched up by the time factor, by at the time of the death, by the time. The time is also compared with the snake or the Kala Sarpa. It is compared analogy is given that Kala Sarpa, at every moment our life, the duration of the life is, you can say, decreasing, or the Sarpa is we, just like we, these are we, and we are gradually coming into the mouth of this snake. So we should understand that we are helpless. Some may give the argument that we are materially advanced and our economical status is very good, then we will protect our material status is so profound that we will protect us from the very cruel clutches of the death. But we should understand that although we are so much materially prosperous and you can say that gorgeous, but still the clutch of death is so powerful that the death will never excuse us. We have to abide by the death. We have to give up this death. Okay. The third verse, the misguided materialistic person do not know that his very body is very impermanent, and that the attraction of the home, land and wealth which are in the relationship to this body are also temporary, and out of ignorance only he thinks that everything is permanent. Here the misconception is everything is permanent. This body is permanent, and whatever connected with this body, this is also permanent. This is the misconception that this whatever this property we have, this is permanent. We have this illusion just to under the illusion, moh, it is called as moh. We are considering that this thing will remains as it is, but we should understand that the time gap is there, the distance of time. When the time comes at the right moment, we will be you can say withdrawn. Whatever property we have, it will be withdrawn from our hands. But this foolish materialistics, he do not know, and after considering that this will be permanent property, he wants to accumulate, and if he fails to attempting this property, to achieve this property, he sometimes may fight, or he sometimes may lie, or sometimes he may, you can say, bad bargain, or sometimes he will be, you can say, become a dacoit, or very crucial, very violent thing. He will, you can say, he works on this activity. So we should first understand that this is not permanent thing. Okay, the living entity in the whatever species of life he appears, find the particular type of satisfaction in that species, and he never adverse to being situated in such a condition. You can understand that in various species of life everybody is satisfied, but as a human being, if we compare to animal species of life, then we will understand that this animal species of life is very sinful, or it is very that standard of happiness is very poor. Now the demigods, if they see from their perspective of our life, then he can understand that this happiness which is perceived by this human species, this is very low quality, low grade happiness. Now if Brahmaji, he sees that the happiness which is enjoyed by this demigod, this is very temporary happiness. So this standard or relativity is there in every species of life, right? So here everybody is satisfied over in their domain, in their domain of happiness, but we should understand that this happiness will it is numbered, means it will end up at one stage. In the fag end of our life, everybody will disgust from their happiness, because the permanent satisfaction we will not experience just by enjoying this kind of activity. So we will, you can say, frustrated or lamented whatever we had done in the past. So these are the three things. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, it is said that I forgot that verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, third and fourth verse. It is said that everybody is encumbered by these three things: the anxiety of future, the tension or you can say shock, moh and bhai. We have fear of future, what will happen. We have anxiety, fear of future, illusion of present. We are the specially conditioned living entity are illusion, shock, and moh means illusion, and shock means the lamentation of our past. This should not be like this. This is the lamentation. That shock, moh and bhai. Very very beautiful verse was there, but I'm just forgetting. This was the verse that in that verse it is said that conditioned living entities, they are in this three state: the lamentation of past, illusion of present, and fear of future. Okay, the conditioned living entity is satisfied in his particular species of life, while deluded by the covering influence of illusory energy. He feels little inclined to cast off his body, and even when in the hell, for he takes a delight in the hellish enjoyment. If the person goes to hell, then he will be satisfied by their hellish enjoyment. Although he is not destined to enjoy that happiness, but their consciousness is come to that very very minute small degree that he will even consider the satisfaction, even that hellish enjoyment. Such satisfaction with one standard of living is due to deep-rooted attraction for the body, wife, home, children, animals, wealth, and friends. In such association, the conditioned living soul thinks himself a quite perfect. He understands that I am well said, quite perfect. Although he is always burning with the anxiety, such as fool always perform all kinds of mischievous activity with the hope that which is never be fulfilled in order to maintain his so-called family life and society. Here the this person or the materialistic person, he will do any mischievous activity just to maintain their family, and he gives heart and sense to woman who falsely charms him with Maya. He enjoys solitary embrace and talking with her, and he is enchanted by the sweet words of the small children. This is the very very great illusion. We have to understand that this family man, this family relationship, we are very much attached to this family relationship. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto, Kapil Dev himself describes that this prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo vidu. These ropes of attachment is prasangam ajaram pasham. It is very very strong rope that we cannot be cut off by our knowledge, by our effort. We have to take shelter of Supreme Lord by taking the shelter of their devotees. Then only this rope of attachment will be completely destroyed. The attached householder remains in his family life, which is full of diplomacy and politics, always spreading miseries and controlled by the acts of sense gratification. He acts just like a counteract reaction of his misery, and if he can successfully counteract such miseries, he thinks that he is happy. At every step of life, we are in a misery, and if we counteract that misery, then the person will think that I am happy. This is the thing that Kapil Dev is explaining. Even we have seen that whatever problem is created in the industry, if the person gets the solution of that problem, then he will consider as a very intelligent person. But at the next moment the another problem will arise. So the problem is there in this material land, because it is a very asat. This is the very problematic situation. So we have to come out from that situation. He secures money by committing violence here and there, and although he employs it in the service of his family, he himself eats only a little portion of the food thus purchased, and he goes to hell for those for whom he earned the money in such an irregular way. Here, very Kapil Dev is just, you can say, just very scolding the materialistic person, or in his Gujarati it is called that vaho gaswa means he is just rubbing their over his back. He is very criticizing the very miserable condition of this life. The materialistic person, he earns the money by committing very sinful activity, by committing very irregular activity, and the punishment we will have to suffer just because of the satisfaction of their family member. He is very much attached to this family member. Okay. Another verse, when he suffer reverse in his occupation, he tries again and again to improve himself. But when he is baffled in all attempts and is ruined, he accepts money from the others because of excessive greed. He have excessive greed, then he will borrow the money anyhow from their relatives by committing very sinful activity. Thus, the unfortunate man, unsuccessful in maintaining his family members, is bereft of all beauty. He always think of his failure, grieving very deeply. This is the lamentation that every person is experiencing after engaging in the sense gratificatory activity. Seeing him unable to support them, his wife and other do not treat him with the same respect as before, and even as a miserly farmer do not accord the same treatment to their old and worn out oxen. We have bullock, especially in the farmer, they have bullock, and that bullock is old and completely worn off, who does not use or who do not come into use. Then this farmer will you can say somewhat disregard to that auction. Similarly, the person who is not earning the money or completely ruined off from their past bafflement, then that family member, children and wife, they are disregarding the person, the attached family man. The foolish family man does not become averse to family life, although he is maintained by those whom he once maintained. एक बार जिसने मेंटेन किया था, अब वही लोग हमको मेंटेन नहीं कर रहे हैं, राइट? The persons whom we have maintained at the time, that person will not maintain us. This is the thing. Why? Because of self-interest. Everybody is you can say a selfish person. Thus, he remains at home just like a pet dog and eats whatever is negligently given to him. Afflicted with many illness such as dyspepsia, loss of appetite, he eats only a very morsel of food, and he becomes an invalid who cannot work anymore. In that diseased condition, one eyes bulge up due to the pressure of air from within, and his glands become congested with mucus. He has difficulty breathing, and upon exhaling and inhaling, he produces a sound like ghor ghor, a rattling within the throat. In this way, he comes under the clutches of the death and lies down, surrendered by the lamenting friends and relatives. Although he wants to speak with them, he no longer can because he is under the control of time. Thus, the man who engage in the uncontrolled senses in the maintaining a family dies in the great grief. Seeing his family crying, he dies most pathetically in great pain and without consciousness. At the death, he sees the messenger of Lord of Death comes before him, their eyes full of wrath and great fear. He passes stool and urine. As a criminal, he is arrested for punishment by the constable of the state, and the person engaged in the criminal sense gratification is similarly arrested by the Yamadutas, who blind him by the neck with a strong rope and cover his subtle body so that he may not undergo severe punishment. While carrying by the constable of Yamraj, he is overwhelmed and trembles in their hands. While passing on the road, he is bitten by the dogs and he can remember the sinful activity in his life. He is thus terribly distressed. Under the scorching sun, the criminal has to pass through the road of hot sand with the forest fire on the both sides. He is whipped on the back by the constable because of his inability to walk, and he is afflicted by the hunger and thirst. But unfortunately, there is no drinking water, no shelter, and no place for rest on the road. While passing on that road to the abode of Yamraj, he falls down in the fatigue, and sometimes he becomes unconscious, but he is forced to rise again. In this way, he is very quickly brought to the presence of Yamraj. This is the very punishment that the living entity, conditioned living entity, he is experiencing after letting the body in this material world, and he will obtain the Karan, Yatna Sharir. This body is there. Okay. Thus, he has to pass 99,000 yojans within 2 or 3 moments, and then he is at once engaged in the torturous punishment which he is destined to suffer. He is placed in the midst of burning piece of wood, and in his limbs are set on fire. In some case, he is made to eat his own flesh, or it have to be eaten by the others. His entrails are pulled off, but hounds and vultures of hell, even though he is still alive to see it, and he is subjected to torments by serpents, scorpions, gnats, and other creatures that bites him. Next, his limbs are lopped off and torn asunder by the elephants, and he is hurled down by hilltops, and he is also held captive either in water or in the cave. Men and women who lives were built up in indulgence in illicit sex life are pulled into many kinds of miserable condition in the hell known as Tamishra, Andhatamishra, and Raurau. Lord Kapila continued that it is sometimes said that we experience hell or heaven in this planet, for hellish punishment are sometimes visible even in this planet also. After leaving this body, the man who maintained himself and his family members by sinful activity suffer in a hellish life, and his relatives suffer also. He goes alone to the darkest region, to the hell, after quitting the present body, and the money he has acquired by envying other living entity is the passage money with which he leaves this world. This thus, by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maintainer of kinsmen is put into a hellish condition to suffer for his sinful activity, like a man who has lost his wealth. Therefore, a person who is very eager to maintain his family and kinsmen simply by black method certainly goes to the darkest region of hell, which is known as Andhatamishra. having gone through all the miserable hellish condition and having passed in irregular order through the lowest form of animal life prior to the human life, and having thus been purged of his sin, he is reborn again as a human being on this earth. This is the 30th chapter of this third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Kapil Dev, he is very elaborating, describing the condition of living entity, how he is engaged in the sense gratificatory activity with the value of whatever he wants to pay. Just because of illusion, just because of moh, he is engaged in so much sinful activity, and the result of this activity, it is hell, and he has to go into hellish planetary system, and he has to suffer, and after suffering he again has to take birth as a lower species of life, in the animal species of life, and after gradual evolution he will again come to the human species of life. And even in the human species of life, if this person will engage in the sense gratificatory activity, then this cycle again goes like this. This is the cycle of birth and death. So first we should understand that we are in a very dangerous situation, and first we should come out from the situation of this dangerous situation to again go to our real home. This is not our real home. We are just, you can say, wasting our time in this material world if we are not engaged in this service of the Lord. So these are the 33 and 34 and 35 verse of this book. The situation of the conditioned living entity, the family man, is particularly described. But here, if the person is engaged in devotional service, then the attachment will gradually dries up. Here it is said that with the progress of the autumn season and the season, the moist earth and muddy place began to dry up, and the green vegetation begins to fade. This drying up and fading up resembles the gradual disappearance of the false sense of affinity and ego. Here, very strong affinity for their family members and their relatives are there, but this affinity will gradually dries up, will gradually disappear when the person engage in the devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami also says that iha yasya harir dasye karmana manasa gira nikhileshvi avasthashu jivan api mritohisa. Even after remaining in this material world, if the person engage in this devotional service, then he is transcendental. He is on the transcendental platform. He will not abide by the law of karma, by the stringent law of this karma, material nature. Then he is just like a dried coconut. The dried coconut is, although he is a very strong shell, but he is completely, you can say, he is not connected, he is not attached to that shell. Similarly, if we are in the fully consciousness of Krishna consciousness, then although we are in this material world, then but still we will completely transcendental to this position. And it is also compared in the Bhagavad Gita also that Padmapatra Ivambasi means the lotus, although he remains in the water, he is not connected with the water. This is the thing that we should understand. Our senses are uncontrolled, and our knowledge is also poor. But by the mercy of Lord and their devotees, we can come to the platform of the devotional service. Somewhat we have to become first serious, and if we are seriously practicing the devotional service, then certainly we will completely come to the devotional platform. Then at the time of death, if we are in completely Krishna consciousness, then we go to back home, back to Godhead. This is the thing. that we first understand. Either we have choice that we want to suffer in the upcoming life, or we again wants to come permanently blissful in the spiritual world. This is our in our hand. So choice is on our choice is of us. So whatever knowledge we have, we should make the right choice. The Bhagavad Gita is giving the choice that what you want. Either you want to upper planetary system, middle planetary system, or lower planetary system, or either you want to go to supreme our journey home, back to Godhead. So this is the thing that we have to understand, that we should somehow get some time, and we should engage by tongue. We should chant the holy name. By if we have enough time, then we should engage in the different kirtan activity, or serving the Supreme Lord, cleaning the temple. These are the devotional activity. So if we are engaged, then we will come. This is our last birth. Then we will go to home. This is and where we will enjoy our eternal company with Lord Krishna. This is the thing, and remaining verse we will discuss in the next class. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.